So it's my pleasure now to present the next award. And so this is a really special award. It's a little bit different than the others. This is the Commitment to the Community Award. And it's really special that our profession recognizes not only the work you do on a day-to-day basis, but how you impact the world around you. This award recognizes people who make a contribution, individuals and firms who make a contribution to the community at large, recognizing a strong commitment to community service, volunteerism, charitable causes, and as is the case for all of our awards, we look at the impact made as well as the nominees' commitment to the highest levels of quality. I'm pleased to present this award to Odgers Berndtson US. So not to an individual, but to a firm. And so at the start of the pandemic, it's really an interesting story. At the start of the pandemic, several members of Odgers Berndtson US got on a call to discuss what can we do as a firm to help the nation, to help our clients. They knew that the largest cities and hospital systems were struggling with staffing issues in the midst of the surge in cases. That took the innovative idea of accessing a huge data set, AI of course, fed into their AI engine to look for overlooked but qualified medical professionals. For example, registered nurses without active LinkedIn profiles, and began pushing text messages on behalf of states in search of volunteers willing to help. In New York alone, they identified 800 nurses and doctors who could relocate to the metro area and another couple of thousand who were willing to do telemedicine. This was so successful, they began to replicate the approach in the broader New York and to other states. They leveraged their database of more than 10 million healthcare professionals to combat the widespread shortage of frontline healthcare workers. They contacted hundreds of thousands of healthcare professionals and eventually connected tens of thousands of healthcare workers to hospitals in COVID hotspots. Steve Potter is the CEO of Odgers Berndtson US and sits on its global board. He has spent over 2 decades in the executive search profession. Having spent time with Steve and actually hearing about this story directly from him, I know he is not only operating at the highest levels of professional standards, but that he brings a passion to our business with a strong focus on innovation. Steve, I'd like to invite you to join me to the podium to accept the award on behalf of Odgers US.
Well, thank you. I'm very honored to be here and receive this award from this great institution. I'm here representing a team of people that really put this initiative together. You have to flash back to March 13th, almost 2 years ago. Ken Kincaid and Dan Marvin, an associate, Ken Kincaid, our chief operating officer, and I were leaving New York to drive to my house in the Berkshires to brainstorm how we're going to get the firm through this horrible, horrible situation. Body bags were piling up in New York. We had 2 goals: to get out before we got COVID and to see what we could do to help and also to brainstorm saving our firm. We accomplished the last 2, but all 3 of us had COVID. So we ended up infecting the whole family. Dan was on his way home to New Hampshire. His parents called and said, no, you're staying with the Potters, so he stayed with us for the next 30 days while we all recovered from COVID. But we put together a working group, and this is just a testament to the ingenuity of people. We had no destination. We didn't know what we were going to do to help. We just got some smart people in a room and started to try to figure it out. So as Karen said, we purchased 15 million healthcare records. That felt like an extravagance at the time, given the fact that searches were canceling and revenues were going down. We put an AI engine on top of it, and as she said, we texted. And then this potted around and followed COVID around the country. So we did it again and again and again. We also created a best practice program where we would take the COVID czar, for example, Admiral Rocky Bono, gave a talk to all of the other states on how to navigate interagency disputes in this time of crisis, which was extremely useful. It was like 180 people on the call. We took the Javits Center CEO to talk to people about standing up emergency hospitals and lessons learned, and there were many that he had paved the way on that, because New York was obviously first. So it's an ingenuity to people. I'm here on behalf of this great team that I've assembled and the great work that they did, and so I'm just very, very flattered to be here and to be recognized. So thank you all.